Eric, Ejay, hey, it's great to see you. Um, Happy Friday.
Happy
Happy time.
Friday.
Happy time to prognosticate with the Hive about the games, the upcoming games,
hmm
and how right I am and how wrong they all are.
Yeah. I'll buy that
Yeah,
until I see
yeah,
something different. I'm gonna
yeah.
buy that.
All right, so what you got cooking?
So yeah, we got 10 games. We got 3 games today. Believe it or not, there's a surprise. Not the There's a surprise game that isn't the surefire winner. And let's start with highest to lowest.
All right.
So the highest consensus game, Mary Washington, 94%. CNU cannot win this game, 0. And
Not a
draw 6
chance.
6%.
That's harsh.
That is harsh, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or
I would have thought Christopher Newport would have been giving people pause, be like, yeah, maybe they can pull it off.
at home, they can get a
Yeah,
tie.
yeah,
Yeah, they always play Mary Washington tough. I mean, they do have some, unusual results. I guess, that 3-0 loss to
yeah,
Washington and Lee
yeah.
is maybe in people's minds. And the fact that Mary Washington hung with UVA,
They did. I
I
watched it.
mean,
Yeah,
the UVA was better, no
yeah,
question,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
no question. But
yeah.
but they
They
if
gave
they
him a
play ten
game.
game if they play 10 games, I
Yeah,
don't think UVA wins all 10.
yeah.
You
They
know,
actually, I thought they looked okay.
yeah.
I mean, the first goal that UVA scored was atrocious, right? Like a pass back,
The
missed
own
the
goal,
keeper,
yeah,
the own
nothing you
goal,
can do
right?
about that. Uh huh.
So you chalk that up. But then they come
And
back to 3-2, right? They were down 3 and then come back 2, and I thought they were playing well. They were putting UVA under pressure, so,
yeah,
you know.
and even that second goal that UVA scored, I'm watching the game and I'm saying, why is nobody picking up that guy? Why is nobody picking
Yeah.
up that guy? Why is nobody picking up that
Yeah.
guy? Why is nobody picking up? And then sure enough, they passed him. Like I told you, pick up the
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he was just walking right down the
Yeah.
middle of the 18, and nobody looked
Nobody
at him.
had him. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And they had
Well,
two guys on the ball. I mean, it was just poor marking.
I thought overall it was a great performance. Like,
Yeah.
like they went in there already like they weren't there was no winning there for Mary Washington, and like I said, I thought they really hung well with them
Yeah.
and gave them
So
a
that's
run for their money.
so that's my guess is that
Yeah.
everybody's just very high on Mary Washington
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Yeah.
That they get
That's true.
94% against
Yeah.
CNU.
Yeah. And CNU has been having sort of the up down up down up down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it not
Too surprising.
terribly
Yeah.
surprising.
Yeah.
This next
This
game is
next one is
surprising.
surprising.
So Trine has a better chance of beating the number, what are they ranked now? 18,
18th, I
19,
thought.
13?
Yeah.
Number 18 Indiana Hoosiers than CNU has of beating Mary Washington.
Oh Lord.
And I don't know, did I put it out there? I know I chatted with somebody who I reminded them, just so you know, this is the Indiana
Yeah,
Hoosiers, not some.
yeah. Indiana University of Pennsylvania,
Right,
whatever.
right. Right. It's not Indiana Baptist. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the Hoosiers. So Indiana, 94%.
Yep.
Okay. Trine, 3, which
3.
is one person, and draw, 3, which is one person.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, isn't it?
Like that's
Oh, and the
brilliant.
and the score is 2-0.
To win?
Yeah,
For trying to win 2-0.
yeah, two
That
nothing.
is remarkable.
I can only assume that they got this backwards. That they picked the wrong team and they put the wrong
Yeah.
score.
You're like you're hoping for sanity's sake they pick that's the
Right,
rationale.
right.
That's funny. Yeah, yeah. Look, I watched them play Notre Dame. I don't know if it was a spring game or what last year,
No,
and
it's beginning. They played him this year too.
no, they did. And you know what?
Yeah.
They give them a run for a little bit, but
Yeah.
clearly, I mean, player pool alone, it's a different pool.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
they're like national team kids. Like it's just different. So I
And yeah,
while I appreciate the enthusiasms for a Trine victory,
right, right, yeah.
if I were a betting man, yeah, I wouldn't make that bet.
So they'll have fun. They'll go out to
Yeah.
Indiana. They'll go out to down to
Oh,
Bloomington. They'll play in
brilliant.
front of 2,000
Come
people.
on.
It's a great time, great opportunity.
Storied stadium, storied
Right,
turf. Like, come on. Who wouldn't want to be in a part of that?
right.
You know,
Yeah,
just too much fun. Just too much fun. So,
yeah. So we'll see what happens there.
all
All
right.
right,
This one is a
third
surprise.
game.
Yeah.
Well, is it? So this game's today. Hopkins and Dickinson. Hopkins 83%. Dickinson 9. A draw 9.
Yeah.
So again, is this the everybody's now high on Hopkins because they beat F and M?
F and M.
So okay, they're back, they're legit, or is it everybody's finally not drinking the Dickinson Kool-Aid anymore?
Yeah. I think it might be not drinking the Dickinson Kool-Aid.
I think this is a fair number actually,
Yeah.
83 for Hopkins, 9 for Dickinson. I thought maybe there'd be a little bit more draw in there just because maybe Hopkins,
Yeah.
it's Hopkins, that game's going to be close. They're
Yeah.
not going to blow anybody out. So if you keep Dickinson in the game, maybe Dickinson, grabs a point here. So I thought maybe that would be a little bit higher, but overall, okay.
I still think the game that really surprised me was the two that when Dickinson tied Swarthmore last week.
Swarthmore, yeah,
That again, if they're as good as I don't think that should have happened.
right.
So, but I
So,
mean, I have Hopkins on this one. I think is who I picked. Like
well,
I
I
just
think we all do, except
yeah
for like four people.
yeah. Like they're playing the odds. Well, if everybody's picking Hopkins and Dickinson wins, well, I could get 15 points.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
all
I
right.
wonder if that's Enmore
I
Cat
see
because
it.
Enmore Cat's
Yeah,
got some interesting
yeah,
scores that I
yeah,
saw. I was like, I'm like, who put this score? And I scroll.
yeah,
I'm like, oh, Enmore
and
Cat. Oh, who
yeah.
put this score? Oh, Enmore
Uh,
Cat. What are you doing?
yeah. um,
Trying to make up for something.
do think it's going to be a good game. Like again, different styles, totally different styles.
Yeah.
Hopkins has been getting a little bit more direct and has been really successful with it. So I don't know. We'll see what they do.
Surprise, surprise. I
Yeah,
mean, as much as we all love the beautiful game, I mean, the
yeah.
truth of the fact is that in especially Division 3 college soccer,
Effectiveness is much more important.
yeah,
Yeah,
speed, strength, and
yeah,
power, and let's go forward.
yeah, yeah,
You got unlimited subs. You got,
yeah,
you know, just keep throwing horses at it.
yeah. It just pains me that you said
So
that, but that's okay.
yeah, well, I know, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right,
Speaking of horses,
game. This is game 5, Western Connecticut, Rhode Island. Oh no, I
sorry.
skipped one.
No, yeah, you skipped one.
Babson Coast Guard.
Yeah,
Babson Coast Guard. So you were big on Coast Guard,
I am.
and Coast Guard lost this week,
They did.
and Babson has clinched first place.
Yeah.
So this game is less important in that regard, but it's still huge for Coast Guard
Coast Guard.
for
Yeah.
where they finish. They
Yeah.
could finish 2, 3, 4, I think,
Yeah.
depending on how everything else, all the other games play out. So this is still a big game for Coast Guard, not as big a game for Babson.
Yeah.
I wonder how they're going to approach this because they don't need it at all.
Yeah.
So maybe they rest, maybe
Could be.
they sub more liberally. I don't know.
I just think Coast Guard is really, really effective. Like I think again, it's a little bit of you know chase, be physical, but they're obviously their record shows that they're really really effective at it. Like and they can score goals. Um, oh, I think the only thing I would say about these numbers is that I don't think there's enough credit to Coast Guard. I think Babson is clearly soccer wise the better team, but I
Hmm.
think I would have thought more people would have been like, oh, Coast Guard can give it a
Did
run.
Yeah, I thought maybe, but I think that midweek loss probably turned a lot
Kind
of
of,
people off.
yeah,
So did I give the numbers? Babson 80, Coast Guard 11,
yeah,
draw 9.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's Babson by a
yeah. By a long
landslide.
shot, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. That's
So
Saturday, right? That's a Saturday game.
Saturday. That's
Saturday,
Saturday.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Another
right.
Saturday game, Western Connecticut, Rhode Island College.
Yeah. It's another, yeah. This
I
one
think
I'll just, yeah,
Rhode Island lost midweek.
yeah,
It's still Rhode Island lost midweek. This is still a big game for standings because they're
yeah,
both tied at the top of the table. What is it, the Little East? Is that what they're
yeah.
called? Little East Conference. So this determines the regular season champion and number one seed.
Hmm.
Western Connecticut 80%, draw 14,
Yeah.
and Rhode Island 6.
Uh, yeah.
That's with people not knowing too much about
Hmm.
Rhode Island. This is fair.
Yeah. Well, I also think, you know, Western Connecticut has had, this isn't their first good season, you know.
No,
I give a lot of weight to that. Like, this isn't
they've had several good years.
yeah, yeah. They, 2 years ago they went undefeated. You know, like I do think they do have a team. Like, I'm not sure Rhode Island colleges has had that pedigree recently.
Right.
So,
They haven't. I mean,
yeah,
this conference is Western Connecticut and UMass Boston.
UMass Boston, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, those are the two that historically have been the strongest teams
yeah,
coming out of this
yeah.
conference.
And that's always the
Uh,
battle, right? Like that's always
yeah,
the so
and UMass Boston's right there. They're
yeah,
like 1 point behind
yeah,
these guys. So like if they tie and UMass wins, then they
yeah,
jump up to first. So
yep,
it's a big game for everybody involved.
yeah, yeah.
So
All right,
what hat you wearing today?
come
Yeah,
on, don't
Mount
go there.
Union, Mount Union Capital. So the good news for you is Mount Union is
Clearly right here, the Hives.
clearly 69%.
Yeah,
Capital has a 0% chance of winning this game
yeah.
and a draw at 31. 69-31. That's by the way, that's the highest draw that we had this week,
This, yeah,
31%,
yeah.
which is surprising.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't
Barely
have
above,
called it. I wouldn't have called a draw. I could
not
justify
in this
seeing.
game necessarily.
Yeah. I could have seen a world where there was less draw and more capital. Like I can understand that. Capital's tricky, right?
Yeah,
Like they're just it's a tricky team. They've sort of been, they've been in a lot of close games. They have gotten blown out. Ohio Wesleyan. Um, but like they lost to John Carroll 2-1. That's they tied Ohio Northern. They beat Wilmington. They lost by a goal to Otterbein. So they could clearly step up to a big game, and I think this is a big game for them.
yeah,
So
it is a big game for him.
yeah, but my
But
Raiders will win.
your purple Raiders
Yes,
um,
shall win.
shall win. There you
It's
go.
indubitably.
There you go.
What is the
Let it be.
standings?
Let it be written. Let it be done. Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's official.
it's interesting. Yeah, this what was it, six qualify in the
Yeah.
OAC? I think it's six,
Yeah.
yeah. So Capital's in a good spot. They're fourth. They're not making the jump to second or first. So yeah,
No,
still a big game. Yeah.
it's still a big game though because of the next game, which is the
Yeah.
John Carroll ONU game.
Yeah.
You know, a lot can still happen here
Yeah.
between Mount Union, John Carroll, and Ohio Northern.
Yeah.
There's a lot still on the table, and this one surprises me a little bit. This John Carroll ONU game.
Mm,
So ONU at 54%, John Carroll at 29, and a draw at 17.
yeah.
I'm surprised that draw is not higher here,
Yeah. I
but
would
I
have
guess
thought more.
everybody,
I thought it would be more as well. Um,
you know, I
I thought
guess
it would have
everybody's
been.
just driving.
If you were to tell me what game would be a third, like
Right.
this is the game. I would have thought that.
This would have been one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
problem. Yeah. What's this is so every time John Carroll is lost, they sort of do a course correction and they win. So they lost.
Hmm.
They go 5 games, I think, where they won 5 games straight where they won. They just lost to Otterbein.
Hmm.
So my mind is thinking, well, they're going to course correct, and
Right.
that's why they I could see picking John Carroll. ONU is good. Like I'm not gonna. I don't know. Are they 54% good?
I think it's a little
Yeah,
high,
it's a little
but
high. Yeah, that's where I struggle. Like, okay,
well,
keep John Carroll 30, give ONU 35, and then the remainder is a draw. Like I could have seen that. I could have been like, okay, I could buy that. But this, I
right,
don't know, a little heavy weighted on ONU's side, I think.
a little bit, but not over. It's still just over 50%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So this next one's interesting too.
This is a cracker of a game.
Denison, Ohio Wesleyan.
Wow. Um,
Denison 51,
yeah,
OWU 26, draw 23. So similar results to John Carroll and you.
yeah.
Just over 50% on Denison, and then you split the difference between OWU and draw.
I buy this one. I I
Yeah,
I can totally. Yep. Yeah.
I'm telling you, Denison is one of the quietest one-loss teams in the
The
country right now.
country. Yeah. Yeah. And Ohio Wesleyan. I don't know what this. They lost 3 this year. Can't remember. Bad
Yeah, I think
win.
so. I think they're like 13, 3 and
So,
2, 13,
yeah.
3 and 3, something like that. The interesting thing about this, well, not this game in particular, but Owu, Kenyon, and Denison. It's a gauntlet, those three
Oh
teams.
my God. That's like
So to win your conference is enormous
yeah.
because you got to be two good, very good teams
Yeah.
to do it, most likely.
It's national championship level stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
like this is going through the tournament. This is going through the NCAA's. Like that's how good they are, right? Like all you could justify. Not I don't again I don't know how this stuff's going to work. It's too complicated for me. I just don't have time for it. Right? Like you could totally see like yep we're Denison, Ohio, Wesleyan, Kenyon all somebody gets the automatic qualifier for
Right.
winning the comp, but then those other two get or get bids. Like so it's
Right.
totally, that
Yeah.
would be totally acceptable to me. Like I'd be like, yep,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could totally see that.
Yeah. This is but so this one is for all the marbles for the
This
number
is
one
it.
seed.
This is the number one seed.
This is the number one seed. Denison at home, 51%. OWU
Wow,
26, draw 23.
wow,
I'm okay with this.
yeah, yeah. And Denison has always had, or always, uh, Owu's number. You know,
They 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 show up.
yeah, for this game. Yeah,
Not even for this game. I mean, big games they show
yeah,
up.
yeah.
I don't think Denison lays an egg when
No,
push comes to shove.
yeah, yeah. I
So
totally agree.
this will so they'll bring a game here.
Yeah. All right, now
All
to
right,
the UAA.
these last two, this is where it's fascinating, right? Nobody's automatic qualifier, or you're not getting in the tournament.
Yep.
When was the last? I think somebody even brought it up. When was the last time that happened on the board?
Yeah.
It was what like
Some,
what did they say with like 77 or something? I mean,
yeah, yeah,
it was some
yeah,
crazy number like
yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
Um, and this is a big game. Case and Brandeis. Brandeis is at the bottom of the table. Case is or vice versa. Brandeis is at the top of the table.
Top
Case
of
is
the
at the
table.
bottom.
Yeah,
but Case is a 51% favorite
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Brandeis 28 and draw 20.
yeah. You know, I, this is where I could be like, yeah, I could see Case doing that. Um, I could see Case pulling off a win because I do think they have the talent. Do I think they're playing well or consistently? No. Um, but right,
None of them are.
none of them. No, the UAA is kind of like a little bit scattered for
Yeah,
me.
like I
But
said, they're all
yeah,
about five. They're all slightly over
yeah,
500. They all play good schedules. They're all playing decent teams
yeah,
out of conference.
yeah,
They're just not winning every game, or a lot of the
yeah.
games. They're winning half their games. They have the
And
potential
they're
to
all
win
splitting.
games.
They're all splitting
Right.
their games
They're
in
all beating each other
conference.
up.
They're all
Right.
beating each other up. Like I just don't.
Right.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I would pick Case is because they're at home. I mean,
Okay.
like
Good a reason as any.
that
That's
would be my
51%.
rationale. That would be my
51
rationale.
on Case, 28 on Brandeis, 20 on draw.
Yeah,
I would have thought this would have been more of a draw,
more
but
of
I
a
guess somebody's got
draw.
to win.
Yeah, yeah.
Same with the last game too.
The next one. Yeah, yeah. This one.
Chicago and Emory.
Yeah,
Emory has a chance to win the conference this weekend.
yeah,
This is for all the marbles, right?
yeah.
They win the conference, they're in. They win
I
this game, they're in.
I would have given Chicago a little bit more respect here. Like,
47% on Emory,
yeah,
26 on Chicago, 26 on draw.
yeah. Like it's funny. You look at they because you look at the other um, the game before the Case Brandeis, right? Like so um, Chicago beat Brandeis. They tied Case,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I would have, they've been look. Chicago hasn't been
I
doing well. I'll
right.
just say I think for their standards, they probably think this is borderline catastrophic. But the games they've lost have been, I mean, everything within a goal for the most part. I mean, except for North Park, I think. But they've been in every game, and so I would have just thought, and especially against Emory, who again, like everyone else in the conference, is just is just beating up and getting beat up. I would have
Right.
given Chicago a little bit more of a shake, but what do I
Well, I
know?
guess Emory at home with a chance to win
Yeah,
the conference.
yeah,
You know,
that's a big one.
maybe that's their
Drama,
time. Yeah.
drama.
So those are 10 games. Um, we're not going to get 10 right because we never do.
No.
So what games are we going to get wrong? I mean, is it these lower games, these Denison, Case, Emory
Now,
games, or is it
when you say right, it's just picking, right? It's just picking the winner. It's not
just picking
necessarily
the winner,
picking. Yeah, just not picking the
or just
score.
picking the result? Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah,
again, I think this is the first time that we don't have draw.
yeah. As one of the
No,
as the
week
biggest.
7. Actually, week 7 and week 6 we didn't have draw either, and we actually did well in week 6 and week 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. We got 6 and 8 right those 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So anyway, I mean, you got to figure we're going to get some wrong. I mean, the games that we're going to get wrong are probably not necessarily these bottom ones, like I say, Emory,
yeah,
Case, Denison, but maybe it's Babson Coast Guard. Maybe
yeah,
that's not a win for Babson, or Hopkins Dickinson. Maybe
yeah.
that's not a win for
That's the ones I
Hopkins.
was looking at, right? Like
Yeah.
Hopkins Dickinson, Babson Coast Guard. I'd even go so far as to say the Western Con, Rhode Island College. I could totally see ending up in a tie.
Hmm.
I could see the Mount Union Capital game ending up in a tie.
Even
I could-
CNU. I think
yeah,
CNU can tie Mary
yeah,
Washington.
yeah. And John Carroll, I could see pulling out a win at Ohio Northern.
Right. And we
Um,
know Trine is going to beat Indiana, so
oh,
that's
totally.
wrong.
That's a given. That's a given.
2-0, by the
Two
way.
nothing. Brilliant. Well, like I said, man, I'm I'm going to be changing my Raiders cap for the Trine cap for that game.
There you
So,
go. I watched
which
the Trine Hope game midweek. I watched
yeah,
half of that.
yeah,
It was a good game. Let me rephrase that. It was an entertaining game.
yeah,
Back and forth, some good action. Wasn't necessarily a great game. Trine likes to play long quickly.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, but it was yeah, it was entertaining. It was good. Trine was decent. It was, like I said, it was a fun game to watch.
yeah. Well, they're not going to be able to do that because I'm sure Indiana, and I haven't seen them this year. I'm sure Indiana's back line is like 6'3", 6'2", 6'4", 6'4", right? Like it's
And
so
then they've got a 5'4" Brazilian in center mid who just
yeah,
dribbles everybody,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and a 6'5" goalkeeper who was
Right.
debating whether he should play basketball for Indiana or
D- don't
soccer.
forget about like this 6'4" Swede that's playing
Yeah,
striker, right?
yeah,
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 that's where you see some of these
yeah.
differences
And the
for
five
sure.
foot ten goalkeeper for Trine's gonna be.
Right, right.
Oh
The
Lord.
first year starting because
Yeah, yeah.
he was a
Freshman
senior
year,
last
like
year.
what?
So.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I'm rooting for him, regardless. I'm rooting
Oh
for
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah,
That's gonna be
yeah. There
fun.
you go.
So,
There you
all
go.
right,
So
my
that's it.
all right, my friend. That was fantastic as always. I will get this up. I'll post on d3soccer.fans. I still have to
And
figure
then
out. You have to send me. Can you send? You have a spreadsheet of the leaderboard
yeah,
the of all the weeks.
yeah, yeah,
Can
yeah.
you send that to me? Because I'm having troubles with
With
getting.
the yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I'll
Um,
send you that
all right, and then
for sure.
but then I'll get this all up and just go. Hopefully, my
And
week next
then
week is a little freer, and I can do the things I want to do
Sunday, I'll send you next week's
next week's,
pool,
which will be the
which will
final.
be playoffs. No, we go 2 weeks.
Oh,
Get 2 more weeks.
okay.
We
Oh
get
yeah,
because we
yeah.
do
We're doing
the
the tournament,
conference
the conference
tournament.
tournament.
We
Yeah,
do the conference tournament,
yeah,
and then we do the first
yeah,
week of the
yeah,
dance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So we'll have to look and see. This is, I think, where it gets real difficult because now you've got a 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. Lots of two. It'll be lots of 2v3
Yeah,
games next
yeah.
weekend.
And
Tournaments
those are
2v3
and
games.
every tournament has the shocker game, Like, is this the game where the underdog wins? Like, all of them have that. And it's never foregone
Actually,
conclusion.
can I do the tournament games? What does the calendar look like? They play midweek. I'm gonna have to look
No,
at that.
they do midweek and then they do the weekend. We might not be able
Right,
to, right? Because they do, hey, the midweek, like a Tuesday, they
right,
do the first round. So you're not going
right,
to know who the, you're going to be like, oh, this is Denison against the
right,
winner
right,
of.
right,
So we might
right.
be, next week
We
might
might
be
have
it.
to we might have to skip next week and then do the first week of the tournament. I don't know. I'll see. I'll
Yeah.
take a look and I mean, worst case, I hate to do it because everybody's kind of used to the schedule of how we do
Yep.
things. I mean, I could wait until Thursday results
Yeah.
to post a weekend tournament, but then if somebody's
Yeah.
that's not fair.
Yeah.
Um, so all right, we'll see. We'll see. We might have to skip next week and then we'll do the first week of the tournament because the first week
Yeah.
of the tournament we can do because that's easy enough to do. Just pick
Yeah.
first round games.
Okay.
All right, we'll
All right,
figure it out.
brother.
Cool.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You
We'll,
too. Enjoy it.
yeah, I'll see you Sunday.
All righty.